Hi, my name is Amanda Stratton. I'm a fairly new elementary school teacher. I've actually been substituting in the same district for 2 years. During that time, I did mostly long-term assignments, and last year I was in second grade for the most part. I did transition that second grade into remote learning when school closures took place, and we finished out the school year. So since we need to record this lesson virtually, I thought that it would be most realistic to just record the Zoom meeting, since this is how I presented most of my live interaction with my students. Now, normally during our Zoom meeting, I would do a screen share and we would have up Google Classroom, and before the students would log on, I would have everything loaded into their Google Classroom so that they could click on it to reference while we do the meeting as well. So the slides that I click on would be indicative of what I would have placed under their assignment tab on Google Classroom. So with that being said, doing second grade, a lesson on introducing comparing and contrasting. The objective is to have students be able to compare and contrast 2 or more inanimate things and also 2 or more characters from a text. So here we go. So if my kids were just coming on now, I would start with just a greeting, a little bit of interaction, and then we would get going. So this is how it will go. So I'd say, good morning, everybody. How are you today? It's good to see all of your faces. Very good, very good. Who's excited about learning today? I want to see some hands up. Good, I see some people pressing the hand button. That's what I like to see. Remember, if you have something to add, just to press the hand button, and I'll be able to see that you have something to share with the class. Okay, so did any of you get to start your morning with our Go Noodle? Anybody do the mindful minute? Nice. Okay, so who remembers the name of the story that we worked on and then we finished last week? Who remembers the name of that story? Good, I see a lot of hands. Think hard, think hard. For those of you that don't remember, turn to your partners and brainstorm together. Nice, who knows? That's right, Grace for President. So today we're going to think about that story, Grace for President. And there were a couple main characters in that story. And I want to know if anybody can remember the names of those main characters. Can anybody remember the names of the 2 main characters? One is really easy if you think about the title of the story, and maybe you can infer one of the main characters from the title. So at this point, I usually call on somebody just to try to get them excited about the class. I try to get a lot of engagement and feedback. One of the things that I do is I say, if you know, and it's right there on the tip of your tongue and it wants to come out, I want you to blow it into your hand and then put your hand up in the air, and then I'll call on you so that you can let it go. So at this point, a couple students should be telling me that the one main character is Grace and that the other one is Thomas. I am going to mention that in their Google Classroom, you can see here, I have loaded the video of the story of Grace for President for their review. So when they're working through their assignment, if they feel as though they need to review the story because maybe they forgot or they're just not sure, or maybe they need to check that story for evidence, the video is right here. So this is what I would play. Of course, for time considerations for this lesson, I'm not going to play the whole thing now. And then this just proceeds to go through the whole story so they can use that as a lesson. All right, then after we did that, I would introduce the ideas of compare and contrast. Now, one of the things that my students really do enjoy, and they seem to really get it, is when Annie and Moby from Brain Pop Junior explains new ideas to them. So just to get them engaged and really excited about learning, I would normally then play a Brain Pop video. So I have that loaded into their Google Classroom so that they can go back and review it as needed. Again, for time considerations, I'm not going to play the whole video, but I just give you a little idea of what it's like. Okay, so as you can see, they start to talk about comparing and contrasting, and then the video just proceeds like that. The nice thing about the Brain Pop videos are they're not super long, so they're long enough to hold their attention and get the point across in a way that they understand and they enjoy. So after I would play that video, then we would start to brainstorm a little bit about Grace for President. We would talk again about those main characters. I would say something like, I want you guys to think about the main characters again in Grace for President. Grace and Thomas, I want you to think about adjectives. Can anybody remind me what an adjective is? Can anybody bring, yes, does anybody remember? Correct, adjectives are describing words. So I want you to, with your partner, I have all my kids at the desk in pairs. So with your partner, I want you to quietly brainstorm, and I want you to think of adjectives that describe Grace and Thomas. So I want you to work with your partner now to think of 2 adjectives, one to describe Grace and one to describe Thomas, and then we'll talk about that. So at this point, I would just give them maybe a minute or 2. They're pretty good at this point of producing basic adjectives to describe a couple characters in a story. So then I would say, so which pair, who has an adjective for Grace that they want to share? Who has it? Who has it? Yes, correct. Grace is a girl. Good adjective, good adjective. Does anybody have an adjective for Thomas? That's right, Thomas is a boy. Thomas is a boy. So Grace is a girl, Thomas is a boy. So let's think about how that fits into comparing and contrasting. So as we learned from the video, the Brain Pop video, comparing and contrasting, there are some keywords to consider when we're comparing and contrasting 2 different things. When we compare something, we are saying that they have things that are same, similar, or alike. When we contrast something, we're talking about things that make them different, opposite, or unlike. Okay, so on one hand, we have Grace. The adjective that we chose to describe her is girl. On the other hand, we have Thomas. The adjective that we chose to describe him is a boy. So where would this fit? Would this fit in the compare column or the contrast column? So let's take a look. Are boy and girl the same or different? Different. Are boy and girl similar or opposite? Opposite. And are boy and girl alike or unlike? Unlike. Good. So who thinks that choosing the adjective boy and girl is a comparison or a contrast of Grace and Thomas? That's right. That would be a contrast. That would be a contrast. So what we're going to learn today is we're going to learn a way to demonstrate comparing and contrasting. We're going to use a tool, and it's called a Venn diagram. Has anybody ever heard of a Venn diagram? No, that sounds like a fancy word, right? Venn diagram, but it's actually a really simple concept, and I think that you'll really like it. So I will show you what a Venn diagram looks like. And I also have this added to your Google Classroom, this worksheet right here. So we are going to be working on this today, and this is going to be turned in today. Okay, so you're going to submit it when you're all done. So this is a Venn diagram that we made for Grace for President. So a Venn diagram is nothing more than two circles, as you see right here on the screen, two circles that overlap each other a little bit, right? Two circles that overlap each other a little bit. Now, the outside of the circles, like this side is just for Grace, and this side is just for Thomas. So this is the area where you would put things that are contrast, okay? This is where you would put the contrasting adjectives, for instance. So for instance, we said that Grace was a girl. So we would fill this in right here. On this side, on this open part, you would write girl. And then over here on Thomas's side, you would write boy. And as you notice, all the areas are labeled, so that's important, okay? So this is Grace's side, Thomas's side, and you can tell me what this word right here in the middle is. That's right, both, both. So if we put the contrasting terms on the outside, what do you think we're going to put in the inside? Comparing, right? And when we go back to comparing versus contrasting, remember, comparing are things that are same, similar, or alike. So far we came up with one thing for Grace and one thing for Thomas that makes them different, opposite, or unlike each other. And we know that we're going to put that on the outside of our Venn diagram. But that part on the inside, where it comes together and overlaps, this is the part where they have things in common, same, similar, or alike, okay? Just like we watched in that Brain Pop video, this is where things are similar, right? Same or alike. So right now with your partner, I want you to quietly, so other people around you can hear, quietly with your partner, brainstorm. I want you to, each partner group, I want you to come up with one way that Grace and Thomas are the same, similar, or alike. And while you think of that, I'm going to go ahead and start completing my Venn diagram so I can show you what that looks like. I'm making my Venn diagram easy peasy. I'm just drawing my circles. I'm making my titles. So far, this is what our Venn diagram looks like. And we just need to fill in this middle part where it overlaps and they have something in common. Same, similar, or alike. I'm starting to see people have hands go up. They're blowing it. They're holding it in their hand. They're ready to let it go. I give people just a couple more seconds. Okay, good. And I see a lot of hands up. A lot of people push the hand up button. So who thinks they know? Who thinks they know one thing? And remember, we should be thinking about how can we compare and contrast two things or two people, right? What did they talk about in the video? What facts do we know about them? For people that are still unsure, can you think about any of the details from Grace and Thomas from the story? What is the relationship between Grace and Thomas? What are they both doing? What are they both a part of? And if you're unsure if your answer is correct, are you able to find details in the story to support your answer? Don't forget, I have linked the story right to your Google Classroom. So if you're not sure and you want to go back and look for evidence, be sure to do that. Okay, I'm seeing a lot more hands now. And who has an answer for me? That's right. That's what the main thing of the story, Grace for President, is where we were learning about how she was running to become president. And what did we call the people that are running for an election? They're candidates. So Grace and Thomas were both candidates. That's right. So we go back to our Venn diagram here, and we had girl here, boy here, and now we're going to write candidate. Okay, and the word candidate is actually right here on the top of your worksheet, because I thought that might be a little tricky to spell, so we just went ahead and put it on there. So I'm going to go ahead and write that on my Venn diagram, and since it's a long word, I didn't give myself a lot of room, I'm just going to go ahead and write it vertically or up and down. So this is what we have, and this is what you should have when you submit your worksheet. Girl, boy, and candidate. Very good, very good. So now that we've worked on that together, I want to have you work on another Venn diagram. So in your Google Classroom, under your Go Formative slides, you are going to see a blank Venn diagram like this. Notice the two areas for your title. Don't forget, we're going to do different, same, different, or contrast, compare, contrast. Okay, so that is the Venn diagram that you are going to use for this. So this person is holding both an orange and an apple. And I want to see how good you guys are getting at comparing and contrasting. So this is an orange and an apple, and I want you to complete that Venn diagram, and I want you to put at least two items in each section. So I want your Venn diagram now to look like this. Here's the blank one, right, that I added to your Go Formative slides. I want you to have two items under orange, two items that they have a like or similar, and two items that are under apple, okay? So compare and contrast an orange and an apple. So if you have any questions or you're unsure, please just hit the raise your hand button. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody else and block the audio. When I see your hand go up, then I'll know that you need extra help or you have a question, and no one else will actually be able to hear what we're talking about so that they can keep on working. So if I see any hands go up, I'll click on you and we'll get everything straightened out. So at this point, I would probably just give them just a few minutes to compare and contrast an orange and an apple. I don't think that it would take much longer than maybe 3-4 minutes. And then when that was done, I would have them actually submit that form to me via Go Formative. As they finish, they could submit it to me. So I could be checking those forms as they're submitting it to me, and I could be assessing, you know, if they were able to successfully take on, you know, gain that skill. So like I said, that wouldn't take very long. I love Go Formative for that reason, because I can check those forms in real time and then offer help as needed. Also, when it was over, I would then remind them that they do have homework on this section. There would be, I would get into that now. So I would just tell them that as a reminder tonight, you need to do another Venn diagram at home. Your assignment, make it fun. This is what I want you to do. I want you to compare and contrast two things of your choice. So it can be any two people that you live with, any two pets that you live with, two of your favorite toys, two of your favorite movies. Get really creative. I know you guys love gaming and YouTube. It can be two of your favorite gamers, two of your favorite games, two of your favorite YouTubers, you know. So on this side over here, you could have Mr. Beast, and on this side, you could have Unspeakable, and you could say how they're alike in the middle, how they're different on the outside. Make sure that you put your titles in. You could compare and contrast Minecraft and Pokemon. Have fun with it. Get creative. I've seen a lot of great participation today, guys. I feel like you're doing a great job. Dojo points will go out after we finish this session, so make sure you look for your dojo points. Also, for those of you that are racking up tons of points, be looking in the mail for your surprises. Also, if you need any help at all completing this Venn diagram, don't hesitate. Send me an email. You can talk to me on Dojo. You can message me on Google Classroom. So good luck with your Venn diagrams. Have fun with it. Do something really fun and crazy, something that you really like, so that I can, so you can teach me about it. So that way I'll know about what you guys are doing when you're in your free time at home. So that would be my lesson for compare and contrast virtual lesson. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. At that time, I would just do a stop share and end my Zoom meeting. So thanks guys.